What is up, my brothers and sisters, my agents of respect? It's your boy TreJuanJohnson back with another episode of the No Disrespect But podcast. Before we get started, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Always feel free to comment. Just please make sure you keep those comments respectful. And if you're interested in supporting your favorite podcast, the yours truly, Cash App will be in the episode description. So make sure you guys look out for that. You caught me on X Live or whatever, Twitter Live, I would want to call it. I'm always refer to it as Twitter. I guess I'm a boomer in that way. But excuse me, did kind of a brief video just recapping college football, and in that episode, it kind of gave those that watched, I think it was about 40 some people, an idea of what today's episode is going to be about. And today is just kind of a preview, right, of the NFL. I know we did a show earlier before, just going over records and NFL awards and Super Bowl predictions and things like that. But I want to take a deeper dive, more so in terms of, um, I would say, three storylines. I'll say that I'm looking forward to this year, and then three games that I'm looking forward to this week. So. Um, let's hop in the first of what is Trey looking forward to, right, this season? What is something that when I think about how this season will go and how it should end and everything in between, what am I looking for? I would say this. Will Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, probably more so Lamar Jackson, will they finally get over the hump, right? Will they finally get not just that elusive championship, but get it by beating that Kermit the Frog sounding guy, arguably the best quarterback of this generation, already in all-time talks, right? That being Patrick Mahomes the second. Kansas City Chiefs, we know, have dominated the AFC, especially since Tom Brady left New England and went to Tampa Bay. It's been Patrick Mahomes' conference. It's been Andy Reid's conference. It's been the Chiefs' conference. If you want to get to a Super Bowl appearance, you have to get through them. And the only team who has been able to do that in this particular time has been the Joe Burrow-led Cincinnati Bengals in that magical run they had, I believe, it was the 2020 season or 2021 season. Sorry. So it's been a little minute since somebody's been able to knock the Kansas City Chiefs off, and both Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen have had their opportunities. Um, and so it's one of those things of who's going to be the guy. We saw Lamar and Josh face off in the playoffs last year, and Josh got the better of Lamar. Obviously, I think that went into the MVP conversation where Josh Allen ended up being named the most valuable player a season ago. But like all things, we saw that Patrick Mahomes made it happen. The year before last, or the year before last year, we saw Lamar Jackson have his opportunity at Patrick Mahomes. Probably, and some may say the worst roster from an offensive standpoint and a collection of talent that Patrick Mahomes had in his career to date. Obviously had an amazing defense, but Lamar Jackson came in with a defense that led the league in turnovers. I believe at that point in time, had some good weaponry. A rookie Zay Flowers. You just felt like the coming off an MVP year at that you just felt like the Ravens had enough until they didn't have enough, and they lost at home, right, to the Kansas City Chiefs. So both guys having an opportunity. What Lamar is going on year, he graduated in 20, or he was drafted in 2018. So um, year 8 is what Lamar Jackson is going on, and two-time MVP, has the accolades individual wise, has some good team accomplishments as well. The thing missing that's stopping them from being a part of some of these all-time conversations is not having that championship. And I know there have been players in the past we can look to and say, man, look, if they had this and they had that, they probably would have won a championship. It was all on them. But I would say, unlike maybe the Carolina Panthers, I feel like the Baltimore Ravens have invested in providing support around Lamar Jackson. They have tried to attack the wide receiver position. Do they have a bona fide stud at that position? No, but they have good talent. They have a stud at tight end, Mark Andrews, who uncharacteristically had probably the worst game of his career in that playoff matchup against the Buffalo Bills. Isaiah Likely, who was a guy that emerged last year while Mark was dealing with some of his injuries and coming back from that. You go get Derrick Henry, who's one of the best running backs in the league, if not the best running back in the league. And he proceeds to get a ton of yards for you last year. You also got two really good backs behind them. Good offensive line. Defense wasn't at its best last year, the way they had been in the previous few years. But they expect to be better. They got a little younger, both on the line and in the secondary, and so they're expecting to be even better. And it's starting to get to a point where is that window closing, right, for Lamar Jackson? I think the same thing can be said about Josh Allen. Also, is coming in. What I think Josh might be. Let me see. Yeah, Josh was also in that 2018 draft. So, um, two guys going into their eighth season respectively. And now it's time to really take it to Patrick Mahomes, who has ran the conference more most of his career. Like I said, the only years he didn't really run the conference were the years that Tom Brady was still in the division, so or still in the conference. So since Tom Brady departed for Tampa Bay, it has been the Chiefs. So that's one of the things I'm looking forward to watching. Can the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen, can the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson, can they get over one, the Patrick Mahomes hump, which I think is super important, right? To get to the Super Bowl, you got to get past Patrick Mahomes. But it could also end up being one of those cases, right? Where you made it past the Mahomes monster and you're so overwhelmed with being able to accomplish that you're not ready for your NFC opponent and you end up losing the Super Bowl. So it's almost like, yeah, I beat Patrick Mahomes, but at what cost? Like I still lost. So I lost Super Bowl. I didn't get the prize. And I think that's where these two quarterbacks and players have come to. One, they got to get past Patrick Mahomes, and then one A, they gotta leave with that hardware. They gotta leave with that ring. And for those that caught my preview show, I do have the Baltimore Ravens representing the AFC versus the Cowboys in the NFC, and I have the Ravens winning. So I do have Lamar Jackson getting over the Mahomes hump and getting that elusive championship. And this could just as easily be Josh Allen with what they're doing. Um, re-signing James Cook, bringing him back. I think they've continued to add towards the wide receiver core. Offensive line is really good. They really got better on defense in my mind. A defense that should be serviceable in helping Buffalo compete for a championship. Um, but it one of the two got to take it because the windows are closing. And excuse me, the tough part about it is they're all around the same age, so it's not like uh, Mahomes can retire and then you got your opportunity. No. Maybe Andy Reid retiring may open some doors for some of these quarterbacks, but they got to seize the moment. And we're talking about Pat Mahomes, but I think Joe Burrow is going to be out for blood this year. I think if Tua stays healthy and we see the record that Miami has when he plays, I think he may be someone who has something to say. You see Aaron Rodgers over in Pittsburgh. We know he's a shell of himself, but we've seen moments where a veteran quarterback with a decent roster, which I think Pittsburgh has that the Jets did not, um, can make some things shake. So really looking forward to it. And then you got a young buck like CJ Stroud who's saying, my time is now, and what they're doing in Houston. So, we talk about these two guys having a usurp one guy in Patrick Mahomes, but there's going to be a lot of guys and a lot of teams that are vying for that opportunity as well. The same way, like I said, Cincinnati and Joe Burrow were able to do it. And as far as I'm concerned, they're the team that have always given the Chiefs their best shot in the playoffs, where you're like, damn, the Chiefs might actually lose this game. The Cincinnati Bengals are the only team in my mind that have been able to do that in this Mahomes era, like I said, post Tom Brady's departure from New England. Second thing I'm really, really looking forward to, and of course, it's a lot of it is because it's recent news, right? As of Saturday, Micah Parsons gets traded from Dallas to Green Bay. And here's the thing: we know in reality we should judge this trade over what a 3 4 year period, but of course we're going to judge it week to week. Um, and I would say I want to see how it impacts both franchises. Again, I told you guys what my Super Bowl prediction was going in, who I had representing the NFC, and it was the Dallas Cowboys. And I'm gonna be quite honest with you, even with the Michael Parsons trade, I have not yielded on that. I think if anything, it's going to push that team even more to be better. It's going to push Rain Dakota to be even better because all these people are saying, "Oh my God, the Cowboys traded their best player." No, they didn't. Their best player wears number 4 and plays the quarterback position. Trey, why would you say such a thing? Mike is clearly better. Look at the stats. Look at what he look at the age and all that. Well, guess what? When Micah Parsons is playing and Rain Dakota is not in the lineup for the Dallas Cowboys, it doesn't yield to winning. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look pretty. It looks like a middle school team at times. I've seen Dak put the cape on and drag a Cowboys team to the playoffs a couple years ago. Like I've seen it. I've seen what Dak can do, and I think he's going to have the MVP caliber season. And I think they're still going to make it. But almost, I mean, I don't think people had a lot of expectations, especially not as high as I did or I have. So maybe the only people who believe the Cowboys are going to make the Super Bowl are myself, just based on how I feel, how this season will go, and then Dallas Cowboys fans who have been feeling this way for the past 30 years that every year is going to be their year, right? Um, but I like to think that mine is a little bit more nuanced as opposed to just being a fanatic of this particular team. And that's kind of where I draw the line between me and a Cowboys fan at this point in time. But here's the thing: not too many people have true expectations of the Dallas Cowboys, even with a Michael Parsons on the roster. They're like, oh, they might finish second, third, whatever, but not a key player. So getting rid of Michael Parsons, it really doesn't hurt them any in terms of the mass media of what their expectations of what the Cowboys are going to be. But Green Bay, this jumpstarts what needs to be a championship contending team. I think the past couple of years with the resurgence of Detroit and what they were doing, Minnesota having an incredible year, right? With Sam Darnold at the helm. Now the pressure is on Green Bay and Jordan Love specifically. You got to step up. You should command your division. You should command the NFC playoff picture, um, and really be in a position to win the Super Bowl either this year or the next. Obviously, we know health plays a major part in a lot of things. So I'm going to assume that everybody's healthy and things of that nature. But a lot of pressure is on Green Bay. A lot of pressure is on their head coach to win the championship, make it to a conference championship game, make it to a Super Bowl. A lot of pressure is going to be on Micah Parsons, right? So I want to see how both of these franchises, with the expectations for each amidst the trade, how do they deal with that pressure? Really interested in seeing that. And I will say this: the last thing I will say I'm looking forward to is the youth movement in New Orleans. It's been a while since we have depending on such young players. Probably since the '06 season, I think we had a relatively young roster. A lot of rookies played on that team. A lot of young guys played on that team that ended up going to the NFC Championship game, and I think lost to uh, a veteran-led team in Chicago that had been there, done that, with some really good pieces on both sides of the ball. Um, so I want to see what this looks like. I don't really have crazy expectations of New Orleans Saints this year, but starting Spencer Rattler, who's in his second year. Of course, you have Tyler Shuck, the rookie quarterback, waiting in the wings. Want to see how those go. Sorry, want to see how those guys continue to battle and try to secure themselves as the bona fide QB1 and franchise quarterback of the New Orleans Saints. We got some youth in the backfield with Kendre Miller, who's still young. I think he's only 22, 23 years old. You have Devin Neal, who's just coming out of college from University of Kansas, and who are guys that can step up behind Alvin Kamara, but can also make it a point to where, hey, if we aren't winning games, Alvin Kamara wants to win championships, which he should want to do that. I also know he wants to retire as Saint, but let's say the need to be a champion overwhelms that. And shit, you can always the last when you know you want to retire, you can always retire as Saint, same way Jimmy Graham did. So there's an opportunity to move off of Alvin Kamara, giving him a better opportunity to win championships. And now you got a Kendre Miller with Devin Neal, insert another young back in the next couple of drafts. I want to see those two guys step up. We know Alvin Kamara means a lot to this team. We know that we lean on him a lot. And in some cases, that's been to his and our detriment because he hasn't been able to make it through a full season. And so maybe having these guys take on some of that responsibility would be awesome. We know we have a youth movement at both tackle positions. Calvin Banks, our recent first round pick, playing left tackle. Taliesa Fuaga playing the right tackle. You still got Trevor Penning, who started left tackle, went to right tackle, now is at left guard, but a first round pick in his own right. Those are three of the five guys, right? Not including Eric McCoy and Cesar Ruiz, who are leading the youth movement in the trenches, and you're hoping they can pan out in some way. Um, we know we got a youth movement in the wide receiver room, led by Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed. You just traded for Vele, who's a youngish receiver in terms of being under 30. Um, what can we do with these guys? How can we give them more opportunities? How can we have them grow in that position and develop to be the wide receivers that we need them to be, especially Chris Olave being a first round pick, being the wide receiver one of this team. Yes, we have some veteran leadership in that room, but we want to see how these guys step up on defense. We got a young cornerback in Kool-Aid McKinstry. You still got Quincy Riley, who won't be starting yet, but you hope that eventually he takes the mantle from Isaac Yadam. You still got Alante Taylor. Um, you still got. I mean, Chase Young is still relatively young on the edge. Carl Granderson, same. Brian Brzee, Christian Boyd is another young man that you're hoping can step up. Pete Warner, still young. Danny Stuntsman, Jonas Sinker, and seeing if he can contribute at that safety position. I mean, the list goes on and on of some of this young talent that is starting a youth movement in New Orleans. I mean, you can also include Kellen Moore, who's the youngest head coach in the league in that. So that's something that I'm looking forward to. See how the Saints youth movement goes. And I don't know. Y'all make sure to comment, what y'all looking for this season. I mean, you know, I talked about a few teams, but and a few players, but it's 32 NFL teams. It's even more NFL players. I'm interested to hear what you guys are looking forward to, whether it be from a player or for a team, and what you think may happen, or what is something you think may happen either now, throughout the season, or by the end of the season. What is something that we should expect to be looking for? So make sure you guys comment that below. For those that have been commenting on the previous videos, if you guys read those comment sections, I do my best to respond to everybody, have really great dialogue. It's always awesome. So I appreciate those that do comment and engaging conversation with me. And even more so, I appreciate that these conversations have been extremely respectful. I listen to other podcasts and go through their comment section, and it's folks uh, cussing out and being disrespectful to the podcast, or they're arguing with each other in the comments, and calling each other out their name, or and just crazy things. And so I do take pride that that isn't necessarily something that happens in my comment section, and that's a huge credit to you guys, right? So thank you for that. Keep commenting, but make sure when we have this dialogue and these conversations, we're continuing to keep that respectful. So I appreciate that. But on to I guess the next segue, just some games. It's week one now, right? Week one. We're here. We went through off season and training camp and preseason. Now it is the regular season. We are here, and there were three games that I'm looking forward to for three different reasons, right? Okay, so um I would say one big game. It's the opening game. It's the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Dallas Cowboys. Um, I think there's a lot that are. I think there's a lot of statements that can be made from both teams. You got the Eagles coming off a championship. There's still questions about Jalen Hurts. I don't know why. I don't. I've tried to understand it, but I just have not. But there are a lot of question marks about Jalen Hurts and if he's a top five quarterback and is he a bus driver or is he a passenger, whatever the hell that ends up meaning in the grand scheme of things. Who cares? I mean, the guy's a Super Bowl champion, um, and played a huge part in capturing that Super Bowl, outplaying Patrick Mahomes for the second time, I might add. So. Really looking forward to seeing how he continues to embrace the challenge. Um, I want to see how these wide receivers, the Eagles pass the ball the least amount of time. So is there still going to be a level of feeding Saquon Barkley that you saw Kellen Moore lean into last year? Or is this new coordinator, is he going to be kind of a Brian Johnson, right? Where um, we probably should be running the ball more, but Jalen Hurts is making this money. We're going to put the game in his hands more, and it just doesn't yield to the best possible outcomes, right, for the team. Where we saw them deal with a bunch of injuries, losing a wild card to Tampa Bay, so on and so forth. So, where last year I felt like the offensive staff um, just stuck to their guns of we're going to do what wins. We don't care if receivers are begging about targets. We don't care if the quarterback wants to throw more. We don't care if the shit. We don't care if the running back is tired of running as much as they are. We're going to do what wins games. If it means running the ball more, they'll do that. If it means passing the ball more, they'll do that. If it's a perfect balance, which I think every team wants, they definitely want to do that. But I want to see what that dynamic will be, right? Because again, I felt like there were moments last year where the offensive staff didn't panic. I don't think Jalen Hurts panicked when AJ Brown was kind of making some issues about targets and things of that nature. Will that same resolve exist? I believe it will exist with Jalen Hurts individually, but will the coaches um, force themselves and try to force feed things through the pass game when they could really lean on the run game and what Saquon Barkley is as a top running back, but also what Jalen Hurts can do with his feet. Defense, pretty much the same. And so I want to see if they can continue to build off of the season they had last year. I want to see if Zach Bond can prove that last year was not a fluke, that he is like that, and that he has very much improved from his time in New Orleans, and in a better scheme with better players, and in his speaking volumes for his play, and his accolades. So I want to see how he comes out of this, right? Looking forward to that. But again, Dallas, just to be a statement win for them. This is a game that nobody's expecting them to win, right? And they can go out there, they can make a statement, um, they can beat Philly. I mean, I think about it how when they came out and played Tampa Bay, and how that was a shootout, and it was just a great game, and they kind of put people on notice that Dallas was going to be here, and that was a year I believe that um, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's the year that Dak finished second in MVP voting. So we're looking forward to seeing how they bounce back. got George Pickens to go along with CeeDee Lamb. What will be his dynamic? We know he's had some issues in Pittsburgh, especially when it comes to getting the ball versus not getting the ball. Will he bring it? Will Dallas have some inkling of a run game? It's going to be hard to beat the Philadelphia Eagles if you can't run the ball, or at least try to establish a little bit of the run and putting all the pressure on your quarterback, dropping back against that pass rush, against that defensive line, and against some ball hawking DBs at that. It's going to be a long night for any quarterback that's going into Philly. But big NFC East division rivalry going on there, a lot at stake. I'm really looking forward to that game. It's an opening game. Can't wait to watch it. Um, Looking forward to seeing who sets the standard week one for their year. Um, I would say another game I'm looking forward to is Tennessee, the Titans opening up against Denver Broncos, visiting them. Cam Ward is the least talked about number one overall pick that I can remember, especially at the quarterback position. Like we've seen guys that are offensive linemen, guys that are defensive linemen, like Trayvon or Trey Walker. Um, that they don't get that love, right? They don't get that love. They play in the trenches and things like that, right? But at the quarterback position, that's quite odd. Like we're seeing third and fourth and second and fifth round picks getting more publicity than the number one overall pick, in Cam Ward. And if you know anything about that guy's a competitor, and he's going to make sure that you know his name and that his name is always in your mouth, whether good or bad. But you're going to know he's here, and he's making statements. So I'm excited to see what he looks like. We know coming in he had that arm talent. He's an amazing leader. I mean, he's led what, three different programs, Incarnate Word, Washington State, Miami, leading them all to new heights, and new expectations. And that's exciting. And I think he's going to do the same thing for a fourth organization and the Tennessee Titans. AFC South is really open. Like we saw a rookie and CJ Stroud come in and make the playoffs and tear it apart. We saw Andrew Luck come in this division. We've seen Peyton Manning dominate this division. So it's not some out of the realm of imagination that Cam Ward looks like number one overall pick, and he's changing the expectation of the Tennessee Titans fan base to where, hey, we should be expecting to be in the title picture year in and year out. And he gets, whew, not only does he go up against arguably the best defense in the league with the reigning defensive player of the year and Patrick Kane the second. No, no, no. Also has to go to Mile High in Denver and play. The altitude and all these things that come along with it. On the road, crazy atmosphere, really good defenses going up against. How will Cam Ward answer the challenge? I believe, like I said, he's the least talked about number one overall pick in a long time. But my belief is that by the end of this week, he will get his proper due, and we will remember why the hell this guy was drafted number one overall, and that he looks the part. So I'm really looking forward to that test. I think Bo Nix, looking forward to seeing how he comes in year two. Right, had a up and down um, rookie year last year. Started to come on strong towards the end. Got Denver to a playoff berth. I want to see how they continue to build upon that. I know Sean Payton's trying to implement his culture and things of that nature, and it starts with your quarterback. And I kind of want to see, you know, is is Bo Nix going to be the Joe, like a Joe Burrow, a guy, a fifth year guy that graduates, even though Joe Burrow got injured his rookie year, but still was having a pretty good rookie year. And then that sophomore year, boom, takes off like a rocket because that talent shows. Will Bo Nix have that type of research, that type of year, right? Where it's like, oh my God, we got our guy. There's no debate about it. Or will he have a Mac Jones type sophomore year? We have a Trevor Lawrence type sophomore year. Um, well, I guess Trevor Lawrence, his issues were more so the second year with Peterson instead of the first. He got to the playoffs. But I think Mac Jones is the one that really comes to mind. Um, I because they kind of got picked in the same range. If you look at their respective drafts, I want to see if Bo Nix can raise his game just another level, raise his teammates' game just another level, or is he totally reliant on what Sean Payton can doctor up for him in an extremely tough division. Um, so it's going to be hard, but hey, you got to do it, right? You got to do it. So really looking forward to seeing how he plays. See if there's any growth there, which I like to think there will be, but you just never know in these situations. Quarterback is so hard, but two really young guys having an opportunity to showcase their abilities. Really looking forward to that. And then last but not least, y'all, of course, God's chosen franchise, the New Orleans Saints versus the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, I can give two damns about the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, look, I want to see how the shortstop plays, Kyler Murray. I think there's a lot riding on him this year. And I think if Arizona isn't successful, and by successful, I mean if Arizona does not ink a playoff spot, I do believe the Arizona Cardinals will be looking for a new starting quarterback. I don't know if that's going to be trading Kyler Murray and trying to draft someone. Depends on how bad they are, or they could be looking at the free agent veteran market, kind of like what we saw with the Colts and bringing in somebody to compete with Anthony Richardson and ended up going with Dank Jones. I can see them bringing a veteran quarterback or drafting a quarterback and trading Kyler Murray to come in. But a lot riding on him. Um, I want to see Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, there was a lot of talk, especially by me, with him coming out of college as being the wide receiver one. But there's been some guys passing you by, sir. Um, will you actually step up to the plate, or are you just one of those another line of nepo babies riding off of their daddy's coattails? Like that's what the streets are saying about you. So what is it going to be? Oh, that defense, though, man. Like they invested in the defense. They drafted Walter Nolan, who's going to miss some time, unfortunately, with I think a lower body injury. But wish that man a safe and speedy recovery. But oh my God, they got Josh Sweat. I got a rookie tackle on the left side. I got a second year right tackle on the other side. I'm a nervous wreck a little bit, so I want to see how those guys hold up. Will Johnson, who I get he didn't run the 40. I get there was issues about his speed, but God, the film is the film. And the Cardinals got a steal in the second round with Will Johnson, and he's going to be going up against my boy Smooth, against my boy Shaheed. Um, can he make an initial impact, immediate impact um, for the Arizona Cardinals? I think he can. So there's a lot to be excited for. I think if you're an Arizona Cardinals fan, I think the real big question mark is what's going to happen at the quarterback position. Which, speaking of, one of the reasons why this game is intriguing to me is because Spencer Rattler is going to be the starting quarterback, a young guy. There's no more veterans like Derek Carr, James Winston, Andy Dalton, even Taysom Hill to a degree. Like we're going with the youth movement, and I want to see if Spencer is truly ready. Like I ain't trying to hear nothing about the offensive line and all, and like there's going to be moments right where if it's on the quarterback or if it's not, and Spencer has to be in a position where we aren't losing games or getting behind the eight ball because of him. Get the ball out, utilize your legs. Um, Please don't throw Leighton high across the middle. Don't throw Leighton inside on these out routes. Timing, timing, timing. We're going to need to see it. This quarterback position is going to be on a constant evaluation process. It's so interesting to see what they look like, and kind of how I mentioned the youth movement. I can't wait to see some of these young guys that the Saints have invested draft capital in. I can't wait to see these guys make an impact. So really looking forward to that game and seeing what the Kellen Moore era begins with. Hopefully, it's a dub. Who that baby? But that's all I got. Hey, make sure you guys also comment some games that y'all are looking forward to watching. Again, the NFL season starts on Thursday. Philadelphia Eagles versus Dallas Cowboys. But what are those games? What are some of these matchups, man? Like we getting some good matchups week one of the NFL season. So please, please, if I didn't mention one of those games, please comment a few games that I need to be tuned into because I watch. I got the app. I can watch all the games. So uh y'all let me know some games. I can make sure I catch them on Sunday as well. But as I end the show, as I always do, right? If there's anything I say that disrespected anyone, it's a good thing. It's an opportunity for me to learn, and it's an opportunity for you to teach me. All I ask is that you keep it respectful. Peace.